if we don't sign anyone, which I don't think we will, are you in agreement with Gav of pushing Ndiaye back over to the left?
I don't think the drop-off will be as great as what you think if we move Ndiaye over to the left and do something on the right, either with Dibling or...
You can't continue with McNeil on the right. I
don't
know people are going to go,
whichever way you put it, as I said, right, left, whatever you put in Ndiaye, it's not... What I'm trying to say is that there's going to be a massive drop-off in quality of player straight away.
I think you
can't expect the same results by losing one of your best players.
If you start swapping and changing Ndiaye from the right to the left, you're just completely changing how you've played all season. The best thing for me is keeping that balance and that consistency. Now, obviously, a McNeil, for instance, is nowhere near the same quality as a Jack Grealish. But for me, if we're not going to bring anyone on, which I don't think we will, he's obviously the most natural player to go on that left-hand side. I think Aznou's got a shout in there as well. But I just think persistent with this on the right, especially when Ndiaye's our top goal scorer, still, is he? Playing from the right. Why would you want to get rid of that threat on the right-hand side?
What I'm trying to say is that, so when we're playing at home, for especially, Dwight McNeil goes on the favoured left position. That's what you're surmising.
I'm saying it's an option that I think we should obviously consider.
But the thing is, where Jack Grealish should get you on the ball and he'll get you up the pitch, Dwight McNeil is not going to do that.
No, but that's out of our hands, though, isn't it?
I know, that's what I'm trying to say. So the whole dynamic of Everton's...
We're not going to go out and sign a similar player to Jack Grealish.
I understand, but we're meant to have one sitting on the bench. He's meant to be
David Moyes signed off on him.
Exactly. But what I'm trying to say is that when Dwight McNeil is on the left-hand side of the midfield and the ball relatively goes to him, his natural instinct is he's not going to beat a man because he's got no pace. He hasn't got the creativity or the skill to get past the man. So his natural thing is to do now just come inside and give the ball. So all of a sudden, Everton's dynamics of playing football at home and away from home, I think it's going to change dramatically.
I know, but so for instance, say the way we set up and play, it's being crosses into the box and trying to get the striker's head on it or bring it down and have a shot. Would it not be better for McNeil to be playing on the left so he can get those crosses in naturally on his left foot rather than playing on the right-hand side, trying to cut inside with no pace, with no power?
Moyes' argument would say by putting McNeil on the right, where did the goal come from?
Well, yeah, fair enough. Like that I was going to bring that up. I wasn't going to shy away from that. But come on,
cut inside. This is left foot. Goalkeeper parries.
This is only a suggestion, by the way. I'm not saying that's what we should do.
Yeah.
I mean, what I would say is, if you're going to get a winger, we're saying about replacing Grealish. Well, I wouldn't do that. What I would do, I would look at getting somebody who plays on the right, which means you can move Ndiaye to the left. That's what I would do. So you get your pace on the right hand side. This is what we were looking for last summer, wasn't it? We after Cuba, weren't we, from Spain? And that's what I would do. So I don't think we should be saying we need a winger to replace Grealish. I would argue there that actually what I would do, if you want to get the best out of the team, is I would be looking for somebody who plays wide right with pace and move Ndiaye to his position on the left, rather than somebody who's a left winger.
But we haven't got that in the ranks currently.
No. So we're going to get. We're talking about signing somebody who needs to get somebody to replace Grealish. Whereas the assumption is within that, somebody plays on the left. Well, actually, what I would do is I'd move Ndiaye to the left, which I still think is his best position, as I say, and then I would look for somebody on the right. With pace, and but I would leave that to the summer. I wouldn't do that now because I don't think you're going to get.
I agree with you in the sense that I didn't want Ndiaye to move over from the left to the right at the beginning of the season. However, in many ways, he's proved me wrong because he's got a number of assists and bagged quite a few goals. Now, the way we've been playing is obviously Grealish on the left and Ndiaye on the right with Kane and Dewsbury all in the middle. I wouldn't shy too far away from continuing with that. Now, whether that's with an Aznou on the left with a bit of pace or a McNeil on the left who would be ideal in many ways on the left out of the current crop of players that we've got to whip those balls into a Tieno Barry or a Beto. How many times have we said we get to a point where Grealish tries to cross the ball in or Ndiaye tries to cross the ball in and they just hits a brick wall, there's not enough space for the strikers to score, or they fluff the lines. I wouldn't shy too far away from what we've done previously with Ndiaye on the right now. I think it changes the whole balance of the team and it changes the way we play. It also gives, Dibling, is he going to be good enough to play on the right? Apparently not, because Moyes is not picking him, and McNeil is not a right winger. I don't know how many times I need to try and say it.
I think that in hindsight, Dibling should be ready to come in right now. He should be looking at this, banging on the door, shouldn't he be going, right, I've got my opportunity now to come in, right or left, put me where you want. Put me where you want. Addison Armstrong, for example, he's probably played 3 games for us this season in numerous positions and looks like he's been playing the Premier League all his life. Whereas in Dibling, I don't many speak to any Evertonians that actually trust him to put a performance on the pitch just to his physique, and he looks mentally as if he can't play in the Premier League at the moment.
I don't think many disagree.
And I think that's holding Moyes back in terms of making... He should be looking at that and going, right, this lad should be ready to come in and deputise. He should be looking at Ndiaye and Grealish, what they're doing off the ball as well as on it, and what they're doing in the gym. I mean, I would say he needs a good panoscout down on Dibling. He really does. He looks the type like he needs to... Because it's the Premier League this season, it's so physical demanding. It really, really is. Goals from set pieces, throw-ins, corners, Arsenal at the top of all the stats for it. That's why they are where they are. And it's catching players out, the likes of Dibling, who aren't physical enough to play in the Premier League at this season. Now, that may change next season. We don't know if it's going to be more physical than this or how demanding it is. But right now, as things currently stand with the likes of Brentford and Tottenham and all these things, bombarding your box with set pieces, it's catching them players out. And the likes of Grealish and Ndiaye, for the size that they are, look at the size of them. You can actually see they can cope with it physically. They're doing more off the ball as well as on it.
Okay, if we don't sign anyone, which I don't think we will, are you in agreement with Gav of pushing Ndiaye back over to the left?
I do, but if we don't sign someone, forget about Europe.
Is there another option here where actually one of the things that we're playing Grealish is we just play naturally wide on the left, don't we? You know, he just yeah. Not the worst suggestion. To be fair, there are those.
Better up front, Gav.
Yeah, I
can't.
Yeah, actually, maybe the worst suggestion.
Yes.
Can you imagine his face when Moyes brought better one with 10 minutes to go?
By the way, them 10 minutes, 2 fouls committed, and I was offside, and I was going, this ball's just coming back here.
You're just working hard.
Is there an option? We obviously play very wide up front, don't we, with Grealish, just hogs the touchline. Is there an option to play like 4-3-3 with a flatter 3 in the middle and have Ndiaye and whoever playing closer to the striker, and with Patterson coming on the pitch, playing right back, we've got a little bit more opportunity for the full-back to bomb on. Is that an option?
Changing the formation or the way
I'm
we
just
play?
putting it out there as a suggestion.
Let's hope he watches this then. Yeah, we've had a salty comment from Ken Sprayer. He wasn't paid for his comment this week.
All right, okay.
That's fine. Well, we'll read it out anyway. Says, the panel is a car crash.
Oof.
The only thing I agree on is Tony's opinion on Beto. The rest is utter nonsense. So that obviously means all of us.
All of us, yeah. I'll take one.
No, that's fine. It will be interesting to see what Ken's...
what makes us a
Ken's alternative view.
Ken, let us know what you think we should do.
That's fine.
Obviously, let's go out and sign someone. Let's do it.
I just think that maybe like Moyes has been very good at it in the past, wasn't he? Bringing someone in January. If I remember rightly, didn't Arteta?
That was on loan, wasn't
it? Yeah. So getting a loan signing in. You've got squads there, the likes of Arsenal, Chelsea. You've got massive squads, or even Manchester City's academy. Getting a player in just to help you out for the next 3 or 4 months could be the big difference. Now, imagine getting on the phone.
Are they going to add anything that we haven't got at the club already?
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah.
Well, we don't know. You don't know what player you're talking about, do you?
Well, they're going to have Dwight McNeil on the left.
You know, but if you bring somebody else from them big clubs who's going to come in and do a job for you, well, I would argue the sort of level they're going down to those clubs got big squads, big commitments, you know, Champions League and all that type of stuff. Is nobody's got want to leave those clubs, and if somebody wants to leave, I would probably bet your bottom dollar that they're going to be worse than what we've got up front at the moment.
Yeah. Well, we've got a £40 million signing set on the bench.
Yeah, but
we've got Dwight McNeil.
That's the point, though. Isn't that the point? It was hard enough to try and find a winger in the summer, and then we were, in many ways, we were forced. Whether you consider to be a panic buy or not, we were forced to pay 35-40 million for an unproven 18-19-year-old, and this is where we are now. So how are we expected to go out in January and go and get someone who's on par or better with Grealish? It's not going to happen.
I want me to tell you why, because what you think the recruitment team, I would second guess, would be doing right now, knowing Jack Grealish is not going to be in Everton playing in the summer.
Well, anyway. Yeah, of course, I hope they are. I'm being realistic.
You should have been doing that as soon as Jack Grealish signed for Everton.
Yeah.
Right, we need to go and find a player because Jack's not going to be with us at the end of the season. We can't just sit in our hands. We should be scouting players.
Tony, I hope that's what they've been doing, and maybe they bring that. Maybe the option or the idea is to bring that forward, but I just can't see it.
That's what I'm hoping. So maybe they identify a player A and B that they knew were going to replace Jack Grealish in the summer. And listen, if they're not there, they're not there. So be it. What I'm guessing is that we know.
Just make sure they tell Tony.
So Jack Grealish is not an Everton player. He's not an Everton player.
Are we still going to have to pay his wages?
We don't know the logistics behind it.
If we're going to have to continue to pay his wages for the rest of the season, it's very unlikely, even more so, that we're going to bring someone in on big wages, big fee, if we're still going to have to pay Jack Grealish's wages.
Try and get this player forward in terms of a loan then. So if you can't, I just think it could be the big
How can you bring a loan in?
No, another player on loan. So whoever's your plan B or C, try your hand.
I think if it's your plan B or C in the summer, there's like you're not going to get him in the summer, so it's in.
If your plan A is your option, first choice is in the summer, you're not going to get him on loan.
No, I agree. So whoever's on.
Sorry, you just said.
So who's your plan B and C and D? Then look, can we try and get one of these on loan to the end of the season?
Maybe they're doing that.
Maybe, and hopefully they are. That's my argument. I'm saying let's not just sit on our hands because we've got a nice opportunity here. The points total we've got, and the game's coming up. Why not try and have a go?
Oh, I've had a really nice comment from Kenny. He said, Ian, you weren't included in my panel comments. Thanks, Ken.
This been all
views are welcome, as long as they're not too abusive. I just think that it's just going to be, it's so difficult to get anybody in January anyway that meets your requirements. And I don't think, as a consequence of that, we should be lowering our requirements just because Grealish is obviously injured. I will just keep our powder dry and just manage it between now and the end of the season with the squad we've got.
If, to kind of like back up Tony's point, if we can bring plan A from the summer to January, I don't know who this is. I know we're talking.
Which I would say the chance of that is 0.
No, but if there was the chance, would you go for it?
Because we've had enough time to get plan A in the summer.
It shouldn't be the case till you force the club's hand. I know we were going to come in for them in January.
But they might have their own ambitions between now and the end of the season. I would imagine if plan A, they're probably a decent player, and say you're a club who's got their own ambitions between now and the end of the campaign, as I was saying, why would they want to release that player now? Of course they wouldn't.
Bournemouth just done the same for Semenyo. City went and got, and we can wait till the end of the season or get him now. Let's go and get him now. It could be the difference between us winning the league.
But if we're not going to be offering £62 million,
I'm just saying it in a lower financial term. But in terms of you force the club's hand.
But is it okay? So say if it was a £20 million player, is a £20 million player winger going to improve what we've got at the moment? Which is my point, really.
Yes, 100%.
I don't think so.
Well, we don't know who this player is that you're speaking about.
But I don't know. I'm not on the recruitment team. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say. City could have sat on their hands, by the way, and go, like, leave Semenyo with us to the end of the season. They've seen, like, let's force Bournemouth's hand, get him in. He could be the difference between us winning the league or not.
I think
same as Mark Gay. They could have sat on their hands with Mark Gay and leave him till the end of the season. We'll pay him what he wants. No, let's not sit on our hands. We're reacting to the 2 injuries. Let's get him in.
It's uncomparable.
I'm not. What I'm trying to say is that the club's forced their hands in terms of what they want this season.
I know, it's using a City situation. It's just a little bit weak for me because of you can't compare both clubs. Do you know what I mean?
I'm not. What I'm trying to say, we're doing it in a lower extent. I fully understand that we're not in that bracket where we can offer Mark Gay 300 grand a week. I'm not. Obviously, I know that. In terms of forcing the answer, get on the phone to whoever your plan A or your plan B was and go, can we do this now? We've got an emergency. Something's happened. Let's get it done. And if they haven't, it ever happens. It doesn't. So be it. Okay. But I'm just thinking that we're in a really good opportunity now. Don't try and waste it.